What an excellent day for an exorcism.
Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast.
I'm John. Fuck capitalism!
I'm Lindsay, trying to write horror novels because I was a weird kid.
The whole world is a urinal.
Fuck the prime time, bitch!
Hello! Welcome to Just Another Horror Podcast. I'm John.
I'm Lindsay.
It's too breathy. I'm Em.
It's too breathy. I'm gonna be in a down mood the rest of the episode.
Nice try, though.
I'm just kidding, because we're reviewing Birdemic! Yeah!
You're way too excited.
I know. I'm guessing neither of you have seen this before.
I had never seen it.
First time listener.
You have talked about it in the past.
Before we start, I just want to remind everybody what we're on. We're on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Rate, review, and subscribe to the show.
Or we gonna sue your balls to the wall.
Twitter at Just Horror Pod.
Instagram at Just a Horror Pod.
And Facebook at Just Another Horror Podcast. Again, subscribe. We would really like it if you subscribe. It's easy and it helps. So, Birdemic! I don't know. I don't know if I like this better than Troll 2, which we're watching later, but it's up there, man, for me.
When's the first time you saw this movie?
Oh, man. Right after I saw The Room. I saw The Room
That
and
was when I've been telling people about this, I'm like, did you ever see The Room? Because this movie is on that kind of level, only even
That's what other
more
people
so.
were telling me. If you like The Room, you gotta see Birdemic.
Yeah.
And even this time when I was watching it, because I haven't seen it in so long, I'm watching the beginning and I'm like, oh my, I can't sit through this. Oh my
it's just
god.
Like driving and looking at the windshield and
the same musical loop.
Oh,
over
I know, over and over. You think it's over and then it starts over again.
Alright, what's the movie Birdemic about, Lindsay?
A horde of mutated birds descend upon the quiet town of Half Moon Bay, California. As the death toll rises, 2 citizens manage to fight back, but will they survive Birdemic?
Did anybody notice when the birds finally arrived? What
Like,
minute mark
it's
that
40,
was?
47 minutes.
Yep,
47
47 minutes
I knew
into
it was
this
about
movie.
50. It's like, you kind of forget it's even about birds at all.
One of the reviews I watched, the one guy was like, a bird better kill somebody real soon, or I'm gonna be pissed.
So it really is.
And I think they also did some timing things. They were like, 3 minutes and 50 seconds of driving, 5 minutes and 30 seconds of walking on the beach.
Holy shit. Very first words that someone speaks in this movie are ADR'd. They're ADR'd. And badly.
Yeah.
She comes in and then you hear the volume change and it goes, can I help you? And it cuts. It's so bad.
Here's a menu. Like, it's just so...
And then, like, she would talk and there would be background noise, and then he would talk and there wasn't background noise.
Silence,
And
yeah.
even just, like, his walking was so stiff and unnatural. Like...
He was interviewed and said that Rod, the main character, was loosely based on himself, so...
That doesn't really tell me much.
I know. Obviously, he was very charismatic.
He stared at women when they were walking by him. Stared like daggers. So we meet Natalie, who's just walking by Rod as he's eating, and he's like,
No, he was watching her eat.
He was watching her eat first.
Oh, there was that first?
Yeah. Which, oh my gosh, she was, like, chewing before she had anything in her mouth. She's like... As she's getting her food ready, like,
She'd have to practice chewing first before she actually gets the food. I don't know how these two work. They don't work, first of all. They do not work, but she walks by, and he stares at her as she goes out the door, and then runs out of the restaurant real fast, without paying his bill, I assume, just to be like, didn't I go to school with you? And she's totally cool with it.
Yeah, she doesn't remember him at all.
Nope, but she's like, he seems friendly. He chased me down in a parking lot and forced me to give him my number. Perfect. I like this guy. Natalie is a fashion model. Not just a fashion model.
Gotta deal with Victoria's Secret.
Cover model for Victoria's Secret. Yep. And her mom is like, if your modeling career doesn't work out, you should maybe be a real estate agent. And they all keep saying this. And I'm like, You made it. You're
Right,
there,
yeah.
man.
But she's doing photo shoots at 1 hour photo.
Yeah.
That's what her audition was. She said, I'm going to an audition for a modeling
Job.
right now. And then it literally shows the outside of a 1 hour photo. And then she's in there in different scenes, like...
With a hat. Yeah. Green screen. Yep.
And then she gets a call that she's now a Victoria's Secret model.
Cover model.
I yelled at the TV, no, you're not!
No one was that excited about it. Not her. Not the person delivering the news. Not Rod. He's like, oh, congratulations.
You look really great in those lingerie. So, like, the director, he was from Vietnam, and he had some broken English, and he would have that in the dialogue, and they would tell him, like, I don't think that this really is what we should be saying, and he would be like, no, stick to the script, like, that's what I want you to say.
It's exactly what happens in Troll 2.
I saw a really short interview with him, and his English seemed...
Yeah, it really wasn't bad, but for some reason he thought
just
that...
the grammar, he just was like,
Yeah.
fuck you. Even some of the opening credits, like, it said supporting casts.
Yeah.
And then, like, had a list of names.
And it just went on and on and on.
Yeah,
it looked like I made them on my computer program. That's how cheap it looked.
Well, it turns out that he actually put a bunch of fake names on the credits.
Seriously?
Because the actors... Oh, I got deep into it today. The actors, like, it started out as kind of a normal shoot, and then people were quitting all over the place. Because I'm getting the idea that this guy was an asshole. So, the director... And so the actors started filling in for, like, boom operators and production assistants, and, like, they were, like, holding their microphone. Like, if they were sitting, they would hold their microphone between their legs, and, like, that's how the microphone... Anyway, at one point the main, what's her name? Natalie, whatever her real name is, 2 makeup artists quit, and so for the rest of the movie she had to fill in.
Yeah, she did a good job actually with that. I mean, that wasn't too bad.
I guess. Was she doing like the horror effects?
I think
and
that
stuff?
was what my assumption was, but maybe not. Maybe she was only doing
Whitney Moore.
Yep. Okay.
I mean, for not being a makeup artist, she did what she could.
Yeah. So then by the end of it, he had like no crew or whatever, so he just put fake names on the rolling credits.
And they even put like featuring Tippi Hedren because they like showed some like there was like a clip of...
She was in a movie of his that he made called Jack and Jane, that she did like a very quick appearance in.
Oh.
And then he put that scene of her appearance in...
Did you find anything out about him and his obsession with the movie Birds?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking to her, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Well, I knew that he was obsessed with it, and
Yeah.
that was what he was, like, kind of trying to recreate here. He thought
I
that...
get it, because the pacing is almost identical.
It is very similar, like, the beginning of it's, like, a romantic kind of movie. Like, he thinks he's, like, a master of the romantic thriller genre.
Oh my god. But... I did read that it said it was a thriller romance, and I was like, romance?
It's like, in the Birds, like, you don't actually have any action with birds until, like, halfway through the movie, like this
But it does have things like a bird will attack someone.
Right.
Or just one bird and it flies away.
Uh-huh.
With this,
When
it's
did
just...
that happen?
They were rowing a boat.
Yeah.
And the birds.
It attacked
and
her.
Oh, in the original
In the
Birds.
Birds,
Yeah.
In this one, that does not happen. What
No.
they have is these news
Like-
reports by somebody who's... I don't think they want to be there. Where
Yeah.
they're like, toxic waste and garbage is piling up on the ocean, leaving bird carcasses everywhere.
Right,
And you're
yeah.
like, this isn't the news. What the fuck is this?
I feel like he like Googled fast facts about like
Yeah.
global warming. And
I think half the script was like copy and pasted from like the climate change
Yeah.
Wikipedia page.
Or an inconvenient truth.
Which was
Right.
in the movie
Which is
too.
in the movie.
Those were the 2 influences, right? The birds and an inconvenient truth.
Yeah.
And that's what I told you is like in the hands of a more competent and, I don't know, just better director or writer even. This could have been an okay movie.
Right, yeah, because I even said before how I would kind of like to see an updated version of the Birds with like modern technology and stuff, which this is not.
No, he used almost the exact same technology.
I would say the technology in the Birds was about
Better?
1,000,000 times better.
Oh,
than
yeah.
this, that's for sure. And
Yeah.
that was made in like 1960 or so. When was that made?
63,
Yeah.
something like that.
But he definitely, the sound of the birds was lifted, except for the airplane sounds. That was not... Why
And
were
the
they exploding?
explosions and
Oh, and the birds are flying, and they're like, boom. Yeah.
it is so funny.
So before we get to the actual bird part,
Yeah, that's way later.
Rod is a salesman for something. The first thing he does is make $1 million sale,
Which
which
could
is
have been a $2 million
ridiculous.
sale, but he decided to just give the person 50% off for no reason.
Oh, I
For
thought it
no
was.
reason.
I thought it was then a $500,000 sale.
No, because he was like, now what would I have to do to get you to, do this? And they told him, and he's like, okay, I'll give you that plus half off.
But what could the other person have been saying on the other end of the line? He was like, what do I need to do to make this sale? Okay. They're not even talking.
They're probably like, what the fuck are you talking about? Okay.
And then in that meeting when they were talking
That's my
about
favorite scene
that
in the
was
movie.
so funny, and they're just like applauding for like
They
5
show
minutes.
every camera angle that they took of the same
Yeah.
scene. So you see his friend shaking him 3 times from different angles.
And you think they're done applauding, and then they start it up
Yeah,
again.
the sound goes away, and then it picks back up again. It's
And the guy in charge is all like Oprah, like, you get $1 million, you get $1 million.
$1 million for everybody because they sold it for $1 billion so they could all cash their. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Stock options?
I'm so confused.
I don't
I
think
don't
they
think
understood
it's supposed
either.
to make well, I guess it was supposed to make sense, but that's not.
His friend is like, "What you gonna do with your money? You gonna buy a Ferrari?" And my favorite line in the movie.
When are you gonna grow up, man? Chicks love cars. If you want to get into their pants, you better have a nice, hot Ferrari.
That's your favorite line?
Well, there's so many, but that
My
one
favorite
is,
line is, where's Becky? Taking a shit.
Yeah.
But then he's like, yeah, she doesn't care about cars.
She's my hot Ferrari.
Oh my god.
The first date that they go on, I can't remember where they go. Okay.
Vietnamese restaurant.
Vietnamese restaurant.
Yeah, but he can't say the word.
There's a lot of words you can't
Did you
say.
notice?
Right, yeah.
He was like, Vietnamese restaurant.
What's that
Right, yeah.
smell? Sounds like wood boining.
And they show like the mural in the restaurant for like 2 minutes or
Yes,
so.
and they're playing Chinese music, like for the Chinese food, like
Vietnamese.
like the Vietnamese. What I mean, it was like music you would hear in a restaurant like that
right,
the whole
but...
time.
Without the filler, this movie would be 11 minutes long,
Yeah.
I think. I mean...
Did you watch the short documentary about this movie?
No.
You
Oh,
gotta watch
man.
it because it's like the
There's a
people that
documentary.
discovered this movie because he was playing it at a bar at Sundance and they happened to see it and they were like, okay, even if 10 people see this, like people have to see this movie because it's just so hilarious. And they like when he was filming it, he like had a thing saying like Birdemic.com and it didn't even have it spelled right. It was Birdemic. It didn't have an R. Like, this person's not even spelling their own movie correctly.
I love this.
It's
This
amazing.
is amazing. Natalie goes and talks to her mom. This is when her mom's like, oh, well, if your modeling career doesn't work out.
First of all, her mom, she's like what, 20
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
and the mom is like in her 70s,
Mm-hmm.
like at least.
Mm-hmm.
So that didn't add up.
No.
But anyway,
And her mom like, that's my girl,
Yep.
and thumbs up for like 10
Does it
seconds.
pay,
like,
does it
she's
pay
like-
well? And she's waiting for them to say cut, and when they do, she goes, real like, quietly. What is the name of his, does it matter, his friend and,
the girlfriend's name is Mai,
okay.
Yeah.
played by Mona Lisa Moon,
Mm-hmm.
who I'm pretty sure is in porn.
That explains why she's in her underwear for 90% of the time she's in the movie.
He insisted that they wear bikinis, not actual underwear, because he didn't want them to accidentally have sex.
Accidentally upset.
I read it. I read it today. I read
They
it.
were. It was a very strange scene there too. Like I'm like, what exactly are they doing? Like
It gets
I guess
weirder later.
And his feet are really dirty. Did you
Yeah.
see that?
Yeah.
The main girls were too.
Were-
And that
Because
first,
they're in a $20 a night hotel room that walking around.
yeah.
I can't wait to get to the scene with Rod and Natalie in the hotel room, because there are a million things
was-
going on in this
Oh my
scene.
gosh, yeah.
I kind of skipped over it because Adam was watching and he was like, "Nope." And
It
he
doesn't- It doesn't really, but we'll get there because
Yeah.
there's a lot of questions. So they go on another date to this restaurant where they're playing this awesome music. First, the double date, where they go see An Inconvenient Truth and all pledge to go get hybrid vehicles.
Right.
Then his friend is like, I gotta go get intimate, if you know what I mean.
sensually.
Sensual? Okay.
We need to
sorry.
go do work. sensual work.
Oh, okay.
It makes my skin crawl just saying that.
So then the two of them go to a festival, right?
Like a carnival kind of, or yeah, like a pumpkin festival, I think, or something.
What's going
Which
on?
clearly
Like a
all
farmer's
these things
market,
were.
Two people go to the harvest. Fall harvest, let's say. Harvesting, you know, they're without shoes. They've been without shoes. There hasn't been a lot of rain. Whatever. The harvest.
So this is olden times.
Yes. This is like the Renaissance.
Like, it's not like he booked any of these places, like, okay, I'm gonna shut this area down and film this movie. No. He just, like, went to this festival, and it was just totally random stuff, like they're watching a parade or something.
There are people throwing candy. It was very weird.
He didn't get permits for anything,
No.
for any of the filming, and they got kicked out of a bunch of places.
Yep.
And there was one scene that they were shooting, like, along a trail, like a jogging trail, and did you read this?
No, but I'm just thinking about that whole part.
The
That's funny.
director was yelling at people jogging past, like just random people doing what they're doing, jogging on a trail. He was yelling at them to get out of the shot, and the main girl, Natalie, was like, you can't do that, and he didn't talk to her for 3 weeks. Any direction to her was through the main guy.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Hey, it is Alfred Hitchcock. What do you know?
That's what makes me think he's an ass. But
Yeah, sounds like it.
and they only filmed on weekends over the course of like 7 months.
Yeah.
They all had day jobs.
This took 7 months?
Yes.
Yeah, because they could only film on Saturdays and Sundays.
God damn it. Okay. The thing that sticks out the most to me as far as permits go is that they are on the road with fake, realistic-looking guns on a busy interstate.
I know. I was wondering how did they do that without people calling the cops? Because
They have kids. They're
people
grabbing
out here-
kids, pulling the kids into the van,
Yeah.
shooting fake guns,
I
and there's
know.
cars just driving by doing their
Right.
thing.
I'm like, how many 911 calls did they get?
Oh my
Like-
God.
Plus, it's like the apocalypse. Everybody's dead, but traffic is just
People are
flowing.
still going to work at the
Right.
convenience store.
Yeah.
What? $100? That's outrageous.
Well, either you take it or leave it, and I have only few gallons left only.
It's rip off. Fine.
Well, okay, here's my
Okay.
credit card.
And then that guy that robs them for their gas later, because he only has $50 in his wallet. So
He says
you're gonna sell me
he doesn't
some
try
gas.
to steal. He's like, you're going to
Right.
sell me the
I know.
gas.
That's what Alex said. He was like, I'm gonna pay you for this gas, pointing a gun in his face.
Okay, so after the festival, that's when they go to the restaurant and dance, and I love that song.
Young ladies are doing their makeup, and the brothers can't wait.
I think it's so dumb, but so awesome.
I'm trying
What?
to
Hanging
remember.
out with my family.
Oh,
when they're
yeah,
dancing?
That was
Uh-huh.
hilarious.
She starts doing the robot?
He does too, or he tries to. And then at one, like, and she's just kind of going like that, like just, like
Yeah.
a little chill, and then
But
everyone,
then
and then
keeps
she's like,
And my favorite thing about cheap, bad movies is that they don't just play one verse from a song. They play the whole song.
why do they do that?
I don't know.
Were they trying to get it like
90
movie
minutes.
film length?
They only got it
90
to
minutes?
they got it to 86. It felt like 106.
Yeah.
But
100,000.
yeah. Okay, the hotel scene. I want everybody to remember that this is a Victoria's Secret cover model and a guy who just made $1 million.
Right.
And got
Oh,
$10 million funding for his new green tech company.
That's right. But he just goes in and he's like, this is cheaper than the other ones, and everybody in the rooms. There's one guy who outacts everybody in the entire movie. He's like very serious. His microphone is actually placed correctly. The lighting is right. Different from everybody else in the room, of course. But he's like, well, what is it? He's just asking all these questions like, well, how is it different than the regular tech they have now? And what did it? And I'm like, is he in the wrong movie? Did they steal this from another movie? Because it didn't look like
Wait,
anything in the
you're
movie.
saying he
Remember
was a
this-
good actor?
One
guy.
Do you remember who he's talking about? Because I can't even
In the
think.
boardroom when he's pitching his...
There's one guy.
Oh,
who's
I
asking-
do know what you're talking
Yeah.
about now. When he's pitching his idea.
Different lighting,
Okay, yeah.
better sound. He's actually acting. His questions, you can hear them. They're not messed up or.
Yeah,
and then
he
it cuts
was
to
better.
Rod, and he's like, like he always does, and the guy's just like, yeah, you sound like a reasonable guy. I'll buy it for $10 million. I'm like,
This all happened in the course of like 2 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He got his million, immediately went and sold his new thing, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So
and there was that other completely random part where he's got somebody at his house selling him solar paneling.
What the
what
hell
was that about?
That's right.
It had nothing to do with anything.
And he was like, "Do you think we could like maybe knock it? Oh yeah, for you, $1,000.
Yeah, it was 20,000, and he wasn't sure about it, but
19,000
well,
is
okay.
fine. And also, why for him? Why?
When he said,
and then it's like, well, where are you going to put the solar panel? He's like, I'll show you.
I know, and I was
Up
like,
there.
On the
I was
roof?
I was like, he's gonna walk out front and point at his roof. That's what he's gonna do.
So these two millionaires go to the cheapest hotel they can find. And Natalie comes out wearing underwear, right?
A bikini.
A bikini, I guess. And Rod is like, "Ooh, wow, you look so sexy," which reminds me of The Room.
Wow, you look so sexy, Lisa.
And then cut to the morning, right?
Really awkward kissing and stuff.
Yeah, they don't.
Like, it was
I
just
don't
so
think they-
weird looking.
The Birds is on in the background too, because
and see,
he's
that
really
was what I
pushing
was
that.
told was why Tippi Hedren was featured in this, is because they showed a clip of the Birds. I really don't think she was ever in one of his movies other than that clip of the Birds, but maybe you're right.
Okay.
So these two millionaires are kissing on the bed, and when they wake up in the morning, they're both dressed. Like, what happened?
No, actually, she wasn't.
She's still in her bikini.
He doesn't have a
fully-
shirt on under the covers. She gets up and goes and looks out the window, comes back, and he's fully clothed on top of the bed.
He made the bed while she
yeah,
looked out the
okay.
window. What happened? Did they just go to sleep in their cheap hotel that they definitely didn't need to...
Yeah.
Nothing makes sense. Absolutely nothing
it
makes
doesn't.
My theory is that she was like, nah, nope, no.
I don't know. I bet they did stuff, and then she
had-
just, like, put her bikini back on.
They had weird sex.
Yeah.
Weird sex.
They slept.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the birds start attacking.
Hey, birds! There's birds here. First it cuts to like these shots of just filler for like a minute and a half. Then the birds are coming, but it's tough because like if you haven't seen it before, I imagine you're like, planes? Are those planes?
Nope.
Because you hear and you see all these explosions.
Apparently, birds explode when they hit the ground. I mean, who knew?
Well, because they're full of acid.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
they
it.
have
something.
Sure.
They do is they spit on somebody and they die.
They dump
Like,
acid on the people.
what the
It's so
crazy. And they're all just, like, in midair. Like,
completely still, but wings
Yeah.
flapping. Not even all of them. Their wings were flapping though.
If they could
Just,
get
like,
them to move, they would
photoshopped
move
into
5
it
of them
so
at the same
obviously.
time across the screen while the other ones just stayed still.
Yeah.
They had to
that
move
was
them in
crazy.
groups. It was
It was
very
so
weird.
strange.
Plus, the other thing is, okay, she goes to the window and she can see one bird right outside the window.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, we're
Yeah.
under attack.
So
And
Let's
it's like
put this
basically
bed against
just
the
in
window.
midair. And it's like what she's seeing. I don't see how she's even seeing them like attacking. Or, like,
Exactly.
they just seem to be in midair there.
Or like how they think, like
It would
why
be.
they think they have to like.
it would be creepy to see an eagle hovering outside of your window.
well, yeah,
like,
that would be weird, but I wouldn't be like it's attacking.
I wouldn't be like, okay, everybody is being attacked by these
No.
birds everywhere, and
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
life is over.
I'd be like something strange is going on with this bird out here, but I don't know what.
So the birds leave, so they decide to go next door to the Republican people next door who have 1,000,000 guns, and they're all talking about how like they need to stick together as a group and all this shit. And
It's Ramsey and Becky.
Oh, right,
Ramsey's
Ramsey and
a poor
Becky.
man's John Krasinski.
okay, so
I thought he looked like him too.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
But
But
another-
then they get the hangers.
I know.
another hallmark of bad movies is that random characters will just be introduced in the middle and you won't see other characters again.
Yeah.
This happens all the time, and that's exactly what this movie has, because these two show up. What happened to his friend? He's dead later, but like, you'd think that those four would be working together. But
Yeah.
nope, they were there
Her
for
mom.
no reason.
Her mom's probably dead. I
Her
don't know.
mom probably went to work, like everyone else in the movie.
Yeah.
So they have clothes hangers, and
Great weapons.
you have to see this.
It is so
They're like, here they come! And they're just waving clothes
What?
hangers around, and the birds are stationary. They're
yeah,
not
they're
moving.
not doing
they're
anything.
just
They're
sitting
just
there.
up there.
So they're looking. If these birds were there, they would be. But they're swinging just randomly. And,
Yeah.
oh, when they do kill a bird, it explodes. So now it's just them driving for a while until they come across two separate cars. They're driving like, there's dead people on the road.
Right.
Let's see if there's anyone alive. And they stop, and the one kid is in the trunk.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
I wonder if he like shut himself in there to stay away from the birds, maybe.
Well, the dad was laying on the ground dead outside, so I wonder if he put the kid in the trunk and then got
died.
killed.
Yeah.
Save him, yeah. And then the girl's underneath the car.
Or is that too logical?
Probably, I would say.
But this is the scene I was talking about, that they're filming next to a busy intersection with
Right.
fake guns, pulling kids out of their cars and shoving them into a van with guns.
Yep.
And they're not really shooting at anything. They're just bang, 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 bang.
And you can tell that the gunshots are just really fake, too.
Yeah, the little sparks that come out of the gun.
Yeah, the sparks come out.
So they take both of these kids, and the kids don't seem too worried that their parents are dead. At first they're like, oh, Mom and Dad. But then they're like, you can play that video game? He's like, yeah, you can play it. Here you go. In the back seat. And they've just decided they're their kids now.
Yeah.
This is a family, but clearly, like these two have said, everyone else is just kind of living their lives. They literally are abducting kids here.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, they take them to the gas station and they're just excited to get candy and stuff. Like, they aren't too worried about their parents anymore at that point.
yep. Well, they're like, we're hungry.
Yeah.
So they take them to a grocery store, or a convenience store, and they just buy and
water.
And lollipops, and they don't even buy it, they steal it. They could have anything in the store.
So
they
lollipops
steal
and water,
lollipops. These people really like to live way below their means.
They do love to be out in open areas where they have no cover from the birds, though.
I know. Just
And they
stay
like
in your
to
goddamn
drag
car.
other people out into open areas that don't want to go.
Right. Forcing people out of that bus. I
They're
don't know
all
when we get to the bus
screaming,
there, but
we
that was
don't
funny.
want to leave. And they're like, come on, like by gunpoint, like
First
a terrorist.
they're like shooting right at the bus to get these birds. I'm like, you're gonna kill all those people, but of course, I mean, there's no bullets, really, so.
Well, plus there's only 3 people on a double-decker bus.
Right. Before that happens, that's when Becky takes a shit. They pull off, and the guy's like, where's Becky? And Rod's like, taking a shit.
He wasn't even mad about it. He was just like taking a shit.
Yeah. So they send Natalie to go watch her, and she just stands there and lets the bird attack and then shoots. And I'm wondering, did she
shot Becky?
She
totally shot Becky.
Because the bird's in her face and she shoots and Becky's dead. And I'm like,
yeah.
What? And she just goes back and goes, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Too late. So this pisses off Ramsey so much that when they get to the bus, he's all gung-ho on saving these people who don't need saved right now.
Yeah.
Pulls them forcefully off of this bus.
Well, okay, first of all, they show up at the bus, and the people are inside the bus like, oh my god, help me, help me. The birds are outside of the bus.
Mm.
There's no birds in the bus.
Right.
There's nothing is actually attacking the people in the bus. In fact, it could be said that if this little van of people would just get on that bus, everybody would be safe in the bus.
Or at home.
In
their
I was
house.
just gonna say, like, why is it that they're, like, on the run, like, there's nowhere they can go, like, don't they live around there? Don't they both have homes?
Go to your
like,
house.
is there a reason they can't just go into a house?
I mean, we've seen the birds when they hit glass, they just break the glass and die. They don't actually...
They literally just die.
They don't, like, go through the glass.
No.
Stay in a car, stay in a house.
So these birds kill Ramsey and the other people on the bus. And Rod's like, I'm gonna go save them. And Natalie's like, you can't. He's like, you're right. And they drive away.
I love
He doesn't even
when
argue.
the people on the bus are, like, dying from the birds, too, because it's just so fake the way they're like, oh, I'm gonna lay down now.
Yeah.
Like,
And then when they
yeah, and then they just...
Well,
on
and
the
then
ground.
we had an argument in my house of whether the birds pooped on them or
shot
It
acid
looked
at
like
them.
They pooped, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, something fell out of the sky
it was a
on
weird...
them. Yeah.
It was obviously 2 people throwing buckets of yellow
something,
stuff at
yeah.
them.
But I think that's maybe what it was supposed to be.
I think on the Wikipedia page it said that they spit acid
does,
on
yeah,
them.
it does.
Oh, okay.
Now they have a picnic. After all of this has happened, they go to the park and have a picnic together.
Is this before or after
Oh.
they went fishing and searching for seaweed and
that's
stuff?
the
That's the
end.
end.
Oh, okay.
First, they go get the gas. There's a guy at the gas station who's
Okay.
still at work because this isn't that big a deal. But gas has gone up from, because they show at the beginning it's like $2 something. Now it's $100 a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
Rod's, oh no, that's a ripoff. All right, I'll get as many gallons as I can. So they go have the picnic, and there's a guy minding his own fucking business up on a bridge. He's got a mask on, and he's just standing there. And they're like, look, an old man.
Yeah, and then
they're like, let's go talk to him.
They're mad at him. They're like, what the hell are you doing out there?
He's got a mask on. He's like, get away from me.
It's also evidence that global warming is interrupting the birth, mating, and migration cycles of many species.
No, come with us and have a discussion. He's like, you want to talk? Fine. So he goes down and explains that, like...
He's an ornithologist.
Right, and he's talking about global warming and...
Bird expert.
Yeah. He says the same lines, like, several times.
Yeah, I'm more afraid of people than these birds. People are the real problem. People are dangerous. And then he leaves.
All right, well, good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
He says, Becky... So this is before Becky dies, because Becky was at the picnic.
Okay.
And Becky was like... Don't you know these birds are killing people? And he goes, these birds?
The ones that are just sitting on the ground?
They're dead from the bird flu. Yeah. And I'm like, she wasn't talking about those specific birds. She was saying birds in general are killing people.
So they leave, and they just keep driving. And at some point they end up in the woods.
I love this part.
I actually like this guy. First of all, he looks like Tommy Wiseau. So that's perfect. Because, of course...
Well, they put a wig on him.
Because
obviously, if he's a hippie, he's got to have a long hair.
He lives in a tree. I like this guy.
Yeah.
But it's also really... He's not delivering his lines great. He's better than everybody else, but not great. He actually is coherent. You understand what he's saying. He's there to protect the trees from things like fires and people leaving fires and stuff like that. He's got a little tree house. And then a mountain lion comes.
Wait,
you don't see the mountain lion.
Okay.
The kid is like, "Are you a tree hugger?"
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he's like, you could call it that.
Yeah, sure. Also, during the filming of this scene, I read that that the director saw a park ranger and was like, "Everybody, quick, just act like you're having a picnic."
Oh my god.
But I love how like suddenly he's like, I hear a mountain lion. I better get back to the
I know, and then there's this...
And then they're on their way out of there, and they're like, "Oh no, there's a forest fire!"
You
and
actually smell that? It smells
like wood burning.
Pile them here and there, like they're just all scattered around.
Just little fires,
like little fires that are clearly copy and pasted in.
And they got lost too. They walked about 50 feet down from the road, and then got lost on the way back.
They're on a marked trail. They must have taken some gummies before they went walking in the woods.
Oh, who does that?
I don't know. Are we gonna die out here as somebody walks by with their dog?
And then when they get back to their car, they're like coughing from all that smoke that you don't see any of.
Yeah. But they're really bad. So the kids are hungry again. They have no food. They're out of gas. They've been robbed of their gas. Okay, this makes... The guy takes the gas can, is attacked by a bird, leaves the gas can, and runs away.
Uh-huh.
He hasn't picked the gas can back up and put it in. He just runs away.
Yep.
So because of that, they run out of gas. And the kids are hungry.
Oh, they left the gun and the gas tank. Yeah. Did you say that already? Sorry,
yeah, they left
left
everything behind and just drove away. They decide the best way to feed... First, they're going to look for food in the back of the car. But what they find is a fishing rod and a grill or a mini griddle.
Yeah, like a stove, like a camp stove.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, great, we can catch a fish. Hold on.
So between like...
There are four of you.
You
can probably catch 4 fish. Now, they all eat that fish. But in part 2, the 2 children have died from the poison fish. Which I think is hilarious. Because they also ate the... But also...
Didn't they eat it? Because they were like refusing to eat it. They were like, we want a Happy Meal. They wouldn't eat it.
They go, there's no Happy Meals here. And I'm like, but there probably are in town. If you drive into town where everybody still is.
So when he goes to go fishing and Natalie goes off with the kids and is like, let's go collect some seaweed. Do you like seaweed? And the boy's like, seaweed's really healthy. And then they sit down to eat and they have a fish and a plate of seaweed. And both the kids are like, I don't want this. I want a Happy Meal. And I was like, well, fine, starve, bitches, because you're not going to get anything else to eat. You know, unless you go into town.
Right.
You could. That's why I noticed that they didn't say... There are no more Happy Meals. They go, there are no Happy Meals right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there are Happy Meals, though, so...
Yeah, and that would have been a lot easier to get than...
Then the birds attack, but doves show up. And so the birds fly away.
I did not catch that.
Yeah,
I did not know why.
I didn't either.
I had to read on that it said when the doves show up, then the birds realize they just want peace and they'll give humans another chance to...
I didn't get that either.
Yeah, I had to read that part. Where are the doves?
I didn't see them. It's like I'm reading it right here. Doves show up, and I'm like, what? When did doves show up?
I didn't even realize that. Okay.
There were two when they're standing staring at the sky.
Oh my god.
For 5 minutes.
For 5 minutes. There were two groups of birds in the sky, and
they
I
would take
feel
turns.
like one was doves and one was eagles.
Like, there were the ones that were constantly
flapping
the wings, and
in
then
place.
the other ones
Were
would
just-
have, like, 2 at a time would do it.
Yeah.
These 2, and then these 2,
Yeah.
and then the other ones would just be there in midair, just hovering.
And I wondered, like, did they just freeze frame this? But no, because every now and then you'll see somebody kind of flinch a little bit, and I'm like, they had to stand there for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
they
look
stood
at
there for
nothing.
like 20 minutes, you know it.
Oh my god. And then the credits finally show up, and I'm like, that's what I was waiting for? Like,
An hour
alright.
ago.
And Lindsay was waiting an hour ago for the credits.
Can I just read what my son wrote down on my notebook? So
Sure.
he took my notebook and started writing stuff down while we were watching this. This is Adam's review. Rod and Natalie are terrible foster parents. They only feed Susan and Tony candy. Also, why are they so insanely stupid? Okay,
Yeah.
possibly have the worst camera angle in the history of Earth. A newborn baby could shoot a better movie. If these birds don't shut the fuck up, this he put a line instead of fuck.
Mm.
This movie makes me want to kill the environment more. I want to cause an oil spill, a forest fire, and start a factory that only produces carbon dioxide.
That is really funny.
He's got a good point. If these are the people that are trying to save the Earth, do we want it saved?
Right.
Like, oh man.
Have you seen Birdemic 2?
Mm-hmm.
How is it?
There's a sea monster that attacks some people.
Is it like the same
a killer
quality?
octopus. It's bad. It's the critics hate the second one more than they hate this one. Like,
Well, I think everyone around the director was trying to make a bad movie the second time, too. Because,
that's why it's not as good as this
yeah,
one.
because this one was unintentionally bad, so that makes it so much funnier.
That is key. That's why a movie like this I really like. Whoa, sorry, but I'm about to review it. But like a movie like Sharknado, where they're like, let's make a shitty movie. No, fuck you.
Yeah, this one he really thought he was making something great.
I love it when they think that. Yeah. So this is my movie, so I'll go first. I love this movie. I don't want to watch it again for a long time. It's wearing, it's grating, but the first time that you see it, it's pretty fucking funny. Like, everything that you could do wrong is wrong. Like, sometimes they're talking and you hear something, but without closed captioning, I have absolutely fucking no idea what they're like, see if you can pick this up, Mike. They'd be like, I'm like, what? And at the bottom, it'd be like, we gotta get to the van. I'm like, no, he did not say we gotta get to the van. Just shit like that. The birds, like, at least in the birds, they use some trained ones, right?
I think so, yeah.
There's not
I mean, they had real birds in the birds, and it looked a lot more realistic than this.
And they also had stuffed birds that they used.
I feel
like they at least throw some fake birds at some people, so it looks like they're actually in the movie.
Sometimes I think about older movies, and I think, well, if you took them back to like the 1800s and showed them, they'd be like, "This is amazing." I feel like if you took this movie back, they'd be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
Like they've never seen a movie before in their life, and they
they'd
see
still
this,
be
and they're
like,
like, "Fuck this shit! Don't bring movies into the world."
Is this technology
Is
in
this
the
what
future?
we're gonna do with this? At the same time, I absolutely love it, so I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. But that doesn't mean it's a good movie, guys. Okay. I recommend watching it once. You will love it. It's like a party movie. It's like a drinking movie. It's like a stoned as shit movie, but it is not a good movie.
I was very taken aback when I first started watching it. I mean, I knew it was going to be a bad movie, but I didn't know... I guess I was kind of expecting like The Room.
Yeah, this was on a whole other level.
Yeah.
The Room had
The Room.
$8 million.
Now I'm like,
This had 10,000.
The Room wasn't too bad.
The Room actually had some production value to it. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Like the dialogue and the acting and stuff was terrible.
He bought two movie production cameras, like big time. Nobody ever does that, not even in real movies. So he had everything.
Yeah, at least it looked good quality.
This looked like someone was running around with like an old 90s camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was all bad. It was horribly bad. The acting was bad. The production was bad. Where's my list?
Oh.
The storyline was bad. The dialogue was bad. The continuity was bad. The visual and effects was bad. The sound and music was bad. Character development was bad. But I give it an 8. Get high and watch this movie.
Yeah. Lindsay?
I don't know if I have anything more to say than what you just said. Like, everything was really, really, really bad. I mean, yeah, terrible direction, terrible acting. Like, I would say probably the worst actor in the whole thing was the lead actor. Mm-hmm. He was really, really terrible. But yeah, it was hilarious. I mean, yeah, the effects were the absolute worst. Mm-hmm. Terrible. Haven't ever seen a movie with such bad effects.
You guys remember when we took a picture for the birds and I just pasted?
That was exactly what this movie was.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have made this movie with that.
Yeah. Move them around a little bit. Yeah.
I don't know. I have a hard time giving it a high score with it being such a bad movie. So I'm like, it was really entertaining in how bad it was. So I would recommend that people watch it like one time, but I think I'm going to give it like a 4, but that's like way up just because of the entertainment value, because it's an absolutely horrible movie.
It has a 1 on IMDb. A 1. And people love it. Their ratings, they're all like 1 star, and they're like, I love this fucking movie. It's awful. It's all like that. Yeah, because
I'm kind of like, I like it, but it's so bad. Yeah. Like, I can't give it a high score.
Yeah. It's just pure entertainment.
Yeah.
Just entertainment. Nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Do your thing. Do your sign off. See you next week, everybody!
Thrill me!